supporting kiddos' early development and about social emotional learning for kiddos and for families. So here's my contact information, and I know that you will get all of the slides so you can look at them at a later time. And especially I encourage you to look at the menu of videos that's at the end of the slides, because I hate talking. So talking too much can be boring, but you can kind of watch the videos that go along with every piece that I'm going to share with you. So IECMH is a free program in Pennsylvania. It comes from the Office of Child Development, Oakdale, and we're housed on the PA Keys. And it's a free resource for everyone in Pennsylvania for kiddos 0 to 6. And families can access it in our website at the PA Keys. And we have a whole bunch of resources that I'll kind of talk to you about. So we're going to define early IECMH, talk a little bit about social emotional development. You have the CDC website and resource for milestones that you can use. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the challenging behaviors that we address. Our bread and butter is social emotional. So when we go to early education centers, although the environment, the structure, your schedule, routines, all of that really plays a part in how kiddos are successful in early education. We focus on the social emotional development and the connection between the adults and the kiddos. So from the 0 to 3 website, which is an amazing resource that you can also have and become a member and all that good stuff, we take the definition of social emotional development, and it's to form close and secure interpersonal relationships between adults and kiddos, and between adults, parents, and teachers. We talk about the experience, the regulating, and the expressing of emotions, verbal expressing of emotions, and also gestural, right? Little nonverbal kiddos at 1 or 2 are telling us what they feel, be about their face or about pointing and everything else. And then the safe exploring of the environment and learning in the context of family, community, and cultural expectations. We strive to try to keep equity at the core of our work, and just acknowledge and respect the fact that there's a lot of different cultural differences in how we develop, right? And how we care for kiddos. Let me go too fast. All right. So when IECMH gets called, usually you get a request for service, and these are the little check boxes that you can talk to us about in regards to attachment, if those are challenging, if about self-regulation, or communication, a kiddo that's nonverbal and maybe pulling hair or not expressing their emotions. Aggression is a big hitter. Usually everybody checks aggression of some sort, and then interaction between kiddos or lack thereof interaction. So I'm going to break them down. Actually, I'm going to talk to you about them right here. So attachment, we really focus on figuring out if that child is connected to their caregivers and to the teachers, and then socially with their peers, right? If they're initiating conversations, and then if they're also closing loops whenever they interact with others. For self-regulation is huge. I think sensory plays an incredible part in how do you return to calm, and how do you manage your emotions. We all feel emotions. Conscious discipline from Becky, Dr. Becky, talks a lot about, you know, their red brain and getting upset, and then being able to calm down or come back to being calm and being in your blue brain. Communication, as I said, It's either there's a lack of communication and they can't express their feelings, and that's why the behavior leads to aggression, and or they're not developing language as we would expect. The ASQ, the Ages and Stages Screener, is a great tool to see where kiddos are supposed to be chronologically and what quote unquote normal or typical behavior should be, and then where there's holes and they're missing some of those skills, and where we can put in activities and play and different activities for them to get those skills. Aggression, definitely, nobody likes aggression. I think every teacher in early education or every parent is always frustrated when their kiddo is biting, hitting, kicking, spitting. And there's a series of books. We always love to use books and literature to help behavior about feet are not for hitting, teeth are not for biting, all of those things. But aggression is one that gets, but there's a reason for aggression. Aggression, usually we deal with social emotional literacy and giving them the words, or the tools, or the throwing socks instead of throwing toys, punching pillows instead of punching friends, biting apples instead of biting friends. All of those things, we use social stories, and all kinds of other things. And interaction, we want to make sure that kiddos are doing parallel play, and that's good at 2 developmentally, but then also doing cooperative play and making sure that they're interacting with their friends back and forth. We call it ping pong interactions, right? And reciprocating that, showing interest in others. Then you move from the parallel play to the cooperative play and the imaginative play and all kinds of play. So in any of these areas, if there's a concern, then we can come in, do observations, give you strategies, and hopefully reduce this challenging behavior. And our program goal is really to reduce the expulsion of kiddos that are getting kicked out, because there's not a state mandate in regards to you keeping children in your program, like in school age, where the state has to educate students. So that's pretty much all of the concerns that we usually use. And we also keep in mind that everyone needs the 4 R's. And this, I'm talking about kiddos and I'm talking about adults. So I just want you to take a moment as I read this to you just briefly, just talking about what is your experience in regards to reassurance. Like, who reassures you? Who provides you with that pat on the back that says you're okay? Reassurance consists of words, actions, nonverbal expressions that make someone feel comforted and cared for. I always talk about my mom. She lives in Puerto Rico, and I can always call her with anything. It's all confidential because she's not going to talk to anybody. And she always tells me, Glory, don't worry, it's okay. You're doing the best that you can. And she's just always a big cheerleader for me. So we all need someone who is reassuring in our life, and that builds resilience. We also need to learn how to self-regulate. We co-regulate for infants. We swaddle them, we put them in blankets, we give them pressure, the whole sensory piece in regards to proprioceptive pressure with the blanket and movement with, the vestibular system. We kind of co-regulate for kiddos and infants and 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds, for them to be able to learn self-regulation. And self-regulation is the capacity to be aware and manage your emotions. And it takes your sensory system to be able to organize your senses, right? So we want to pay attention to reassurance, who's reassuring us, make sure we have those people in our lives. We want to learn about self-regulation. And the Inside Out movie is an amazing movie to share with kiddos and teach them about all of the feelings, and that they all live inside of us, and they come out at different times, and then we got to manage them, right? And relationships are the core. Like, relationships is the key. It's all about being connected. As humans, we are wired to be in relationship with others, and if we don't, we perish, or we end up committing mass murders and all kinds of stuff when we're isolated. So we're all about relationships and how the relationships are playing. Teachers have a temperament, kiddos have a temperament. Sometimes those temperaments don't match, and it's okay. We kind of have to learn how to manage that. But it is in relationships that kids' neurons develop and fire and connect. So we want to keep that in mind. This all builds and goes into the process of adapting and being able to bounce back. They talk about the rubber band. So, and again, what is your experience of resiliency? If you think of a time that something challenged you in life, and what were the reassurance, relationships, and self-regulation that you were able to have to be able to bounce back from life, because life is just life, and it sends us all kinds of challenges at times, whether it's ourselves, whether it's teenagers struggling, whether it's kiddos struggling with behavior, or whether it's us as parents, dealing with challenging behavior for our kiddos. So think about those four. With the challenging behavior, we want to make sure that we're thinking about relationships, self-regulation, resilience, and reassurance. I'm not going to play that video. I'm going to share with you a few resources that you will find a lot of information. 0 to 3 already I mentioned. And then the SAFO website, the Center for Social Emotional Foundations of Early Learning, which is why we have acronyms in our field. But they have amazing resources that you can do modules, you can learn about any challenging behavior. You have resources and books, and there's so much stuff in both of them. We also at our program developed a virtual office hours. So it is a space where either teachers, directors, and or parents can come on and have one of us, because we're 35 across the state, there's not enough of us, and usually we have a wait list. But you don't have to have a case with us in order to make an appointment. And you pretty much just jump on a virtual platform like this one, and then you get assigned to a consultant. You go into the room, have half an hour or an hour to chat with one of us, and we send you resources. And hopefully, sometimes it ends up on a consultation and on a case, or other times it's just a place to hold space and listen to your concerns, and hopefully help you out and support you. So you will have this on the slides, and you can just use the QR code and schedule an appointment with us. We also have a Start Bright Kids and Bright Future newsletter. So you can sign up for the newsletter, and we have all kinds of topics between circle time, bedtime routines, early, like just anything you can think of, grief, all kinds of different things that you can think of, we have on the newsletter, and you can get it every month with a different topic. Here is the videos that go along with each challenging behavior, for attachment, for self-regulation, for aggression. And some of these videos are videos that you can use to share with kiddos. So in self-regulation, Just Breathe, I love that video. And it just talks about, just return to calm your brain down. And it's made by kiddos or with kiddos. Inside Out, Guess the Feelings and Teach the Kids. Reassurance is the funny one that she says, you love me, you love me, you love me, a whole bunch of times. Resilience in your first relationship. All of these videos, I wish we had time to kind of play them all for you, but you have the library here. If you missed any of the slides, just go here and spend, all the videos are less than 3 minutes, so it'll be a kind of click away.